Today we are talking about environmental corporate social responsibility and the employee experience. My name is Olivia.
I'm Heather.
I'm Angel.
I'm Shauna.
And I'm Elise.
Corporate social responsibility is the actions that an organization takes for the benefit of society or the environment outside of those required by law. Brands such as Tom's and Chipotle have shown to excel using CSR with customers. We found that in a 2009 survey, there was a correlation between alignment of corporate employee values and high-quality employee connections and a high level of creative involvement. Because a lot of research was 10 plus years old, we received journals, conducted a survey and interviews, and performed an analysis to get up-to-date information on perception of CSR and how that correlated with engaged and satisfied employees.
In reviewing the literature around CSR, a lot of it focused on the perception of employees about CSR initiatives. It doesn't matter how much good a company does, if employees aren't aware of it, it won't have any effect on their engagement. Also, the employee value system has to align with the corporation's value system. So if an employee does not perceive CSR to be the responsibility of their company, then CSR initiatives will actually have a negative effect on their engagement. Because CSR initiative implementation tends to be an individual responsibility and everybody has to participate, it depends on managers to communicate and enforce these CSR norms throughout the business. And it also requires leadership authenticity and an actual belief in the CSR initiatives and these norms. They have to be reinforced throughout the company and they need to be implemented at every level. If it is perceived that these initiatives are only implemented for branding or marketing purposes, it actually does have a negative effect on employee engagement because employees will perceive them to be inauthentic and that they don't really matter. If it is correctly implemented and employee engagement increases, the employees will experience reduced turnover, higher performance. They will miss on average 2.95 fewer days per year, and in general will increase the bottom line. We found that 15 years ago, there were ample studies that recycling was the gold standard in CSR, but public education around this has increased and we found that the research had not. So we conducted our own survey to try to get more up-to-date information.
In our methodological approach, we gathered qualitative data through fill-in-the-blank answers and personal responses from participants that we sent email surveys to, and through the interviews we conducted. We also gathered quantitative data through using a Likert scale and multiple choice questions in our survey. We chose to include a variety of diverse participants from varying fields to make sure that information was as accurate and up-to-date as possible. In our methods of analysis, we used thematic analysis to identify recurring themes in the data and link the results to overall themes and trends in our research. And our justification for using surveying and interviewing was that our research was short, easy to comprehend, and it's pretty standard in the business world. This is an example of our Google Forms survey that we sent out. And as you can see, the general demographics, 74% were aged 20 through 39, 61% female, 37% male, and everyone came from a variety of different work sectors.
When we got our results of our survey back, we were able to see that 79% of respondents workplaces recycle, but only 44.4% of respondents perceive their employer to be environmentally friendly. To us, this suggests that the gap suggests that recycling alone is not enough for an employee in 2021 to view their employer as environmentally sustainable. Our interviews with workers suggested the same, actually. All 8 of our interviews wanted their employer to be more environmentally sustainable. I found it especially noteworthy that 3 of our interviewees were unprompted, brought up that they do not trust that their employer is actually sending the recycling to a recycling facility. They, along with those who employers do not recycle, spend more time thinking about their employer's sustainability than those who employers do recycle. 42.6% of respondents perceive that their managers encourage employees to be environmentally friendly, which correlates with 44.4% of respondents who perceive that their employers are environmentally friendly. This strengthens our findings from the literature that successful CSR practices rely on management implementation. Only 27.8% of respondents feel that the majority of their coworkers are environmentally friendly, which we have hypothesized means that the environmental sustainability practices of a few outweigh the negligence of others. Further research should be conducted to evaluate the effectiveness of management encouragement on individual employee involvement with CSR. Only 2 of our 8 interviewees indicated they received information from their employer about the sustainability practices, and those updates were very minimal. According to the literature, communication on CSR practices is key for businesses benefiting from CSR. Employees are only impacted by what they perceive that their employer is doing. So we question our businesses doing more or businesses doing less. We definitely think that our interviewees would not question the legitimacy of recycling programs if they were giving updates by their employers. We also found that 55.5% of respondents are satisfied or very satisfied with the company they work for and the decisions that that company makes. Relatively, this correlates with the number of respondents who perceive the workplace and the people in it to be environmentally friendly. This further confirms that environmental CSR correlates with employee satisfaction. Still, it is noteworthy that there is a 24.1% gap in the number of respondents who indicated that their employer recycles and the number of employees who are satisfied with their employer.
Environmental corporate social responsibility contributes to an increasingly positive employee experience as well as raises the bottom line of standards. Environmental CSR should definitely be a goal for all businesses to strive for. We also found that recycling is now the bare minimum to environmental CSR, and it's also not really no longer a benchmark to judging an employer's environmental CSR. As more and more employees are becoming educated and informed on the various environmental sustainability practices, employers really need to be stepping up in their engagement in CSR more than just their performative practices. In order to fully obtain the benefits of CSR, communication about the different CSR practices really needs to increase and improve between employers and to the employees. And in conclusion, businesses have a lot to gain from environmental corporate social responsibility, but the businesses also really need to be putting in an effort to fully prosper and benefit from CSR. We thank you guys for watching.